So do you give me your consent to record and post this video for my assignment?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you. For the first question, what are your religious views and how did you come to those views?
Okay. My religious views are those of the Roman Catholic Church. I have to qualify that because I was brought up culturally as a Catholic. My parents were not active in the church, but they did send us to Catholic school for a while and religious education. When we went to public school, we went to what we called catechism in those days. And then when I got towards junior high school, that sort of faded out because we moved.
Okay.
And then we moved again, and we moved to Florida. And, of course, Florida was right in the middle of the Bible Belt, and by this time I was in high school. And so I was still going to the Catholic Church, but we had something that was culturally very different from the Northeast, and that's free time out on the lawn during our free periods, and this was at Riverview High School in Sarasota. And I would go out there, and kids were out there having Bible studies. I'd never seen this before in my life. So I got involved in that, and in a non-denominational Christian teen center. And then I started studying with these people of different Christian churches, and I even eventually ended up studying with the Mormons.
Wow.
And the Mormons emphasized something in their church about the fact that Jesus had established apostles. And as I studied with them, I would run across the scripture, I will be with you till the ends of the earth, as Jesus spoke to his apostles. He didn't say they were going to be perfect. He didn't say that they weren't going to make mistakes, but he did breathe the authority of the Holy Spirit upon them. And he didn't say, I will be with you, and then there will be an interruption, and then I'll be with you again, as the Mormons would do. So that brought me back to studying apostolic succession. And when I studied apostolic succession, I realized that the Catholic Church has always had it, and it's an unbroken line. And so I started to understand that that was the church that Jesus established. Perfect or imperfect, that's what it was. And as I did more studying, I saw in the Old Testament all the prophets who were imperfect, all these people who represented God who were imperfect. And I recognized that the church was supposed to be full of imperfect people. Well, I fit the bill. And in the meantime, I had gotten married in a Catholic church when I was 18. I was one of those 18-year-olds that had the weight of the world on my shoulders and knew everything.
Yep.
And so I didn't realize there were advantages to being able to say, well, I don't know. And that there's nothing wrong with saying that you didn't know something. I also had a gift because from the time I was very young, I had the talent to sing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was involved in music, and I'd gone to this Catholic church. And I asked them, in those days, they called them folk masses. And
Okay.
I asked the pastor, why do we have a folk mass? And he says, why? Do you play guitar? And I said, yeah. He says, oh, really? I said, well, when would you be available? You have a pretty hectic schedule. And I said, well, Thursday nights I'm available. The conversation went that way, and then before I left, he had it all figured out that he said, well, I'll put an article in the bulletin that you are available on Thursday nights and that you're starting a folk group for our parish.
That's awesome.
You know, so, of course, I took that because I had a problem getting to church every Sunday. Well, now that I was going to be director of this group, I had to be there every Sunday. So that was a way to discipline myself to get to church every week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as time grew on, I learned more about liturgical music, and I started getting involved in some youth ministry, and the years went on, and here I was married, but there was a lot of talk about priests being married in those days. And so I used to bother my pastor about it all the time. He had a special name for me behind my back, which I will not put on this recording.
Okay.
to bug him all the time. Well, pastors changed and everything, and I continued with the other priests. Well, then I eventually got divorced. I was married 10 years. I was getting divorced after 10 years, and I heard I was only 28 years old. And being a nightclub entertainer, I also had lots of ladies around that I dated and everything else, and I got involved with someone, and I was going to get married again, so I went through the annulment proceedings in the church for my first marriage.
Okay.
In the process of that, after I got that done, I announced that I was going to get married again. Well, a couple of weeks later, I was walking behind the church in between masses, and the then pastor came up to me, and he said to me, "You've been," I'm going to say exactly how he said it.
Okay.
"You've been bitching and complaining about the fact that you were interested in being a priest all these years." And he says, "I'm really tired of it. Now you're jumping out of the frying pan into the fire again." And he says, "I don't want to hear it anymore." And he slapped this magazine into my hand. And it was an article about a special seminary in Connecticut that was for second career vocations. And so the name of the college and seminary was called Holy Apostles.
Mm-hmm.
And so I applied, and I was accepted, which turned my world upside down, because I got to tell you, Mackenzie, I graduated from high school out of sheer pity.
Okay.
My grades were they were bad.
Oh.
I mean, my father used to promise us $1 for every A that we got, knowing that he'd never have to pay a cent.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
So my grades were that bad.
Wow.
But so that's how I ended up in the seminary, and of course eventually becoming a priest.
Okay.
Oh, I did break off the engagement, by the way.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So for the next question, what are your values of religious pluralism, and does it impact your faith?
No, it doesn't impact my faith at all, because Jesus said something in the gospel about, it's called the parable of talents. Now, a talent is a measure, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you were a good writer. That meant you had a big measure of understanding how to write.
Yeah.
Some people have a little measure, Someone can only write short stories, but someone else can write a novel.
Okay.
Okay? Well, people are the same way with faith. They might just have a little faith or a little knowledge. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that means other religions too. But if it produces some kind of fruit in truth in their life, then they're using what talent they have to make it fruitful.
Makes
of course,
sense.
I'd rather see everybody convert
Yeah.
to what I believe, the fullness of the faith. But that's why you never see the church in modern times condemning other people for their faith, because they have a measure and they're acting on it.
Okay.
Does that answer?
Go ahead.
Does that answer your question, William?
Yes. So
Okay, good.
the last question, there's two parts. Is your religion accepting towards pluralism, inclusivism, and exclusivism, which you already answered for pluralism? And which one specifically, more so, and why?
Well, the Catholic faith is not that cut and dry on those things. Let me give you an example. Recently, the Holy Father met with, what's his name, Hawkins? Stephen Hawkins?
Yes.
Okay. And I was on Facebook, and Hawkins, I guess his last name is. You can correct that by looking up the right name. And people on Facebook who were Catholics were criticizing this meeting. And I said, well, first of all, if we believe that Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life, it does not matter where the truth comes from as long as it is true.
Okay.
For example, if I have someone come to fix my air conditioner, does he have to be Catholic to know the truth about air conditioners?
No.
No. So, and am I going to keep him out of my house because he's not a believer? No. Because he has some truth to share with me, and it's going to benefit because he knows about air conditioners.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so the Holy Father is meeting this person who is a brilliant mind, who has all sorts of knowledge. He just doesn't have faith. You don't cut him out just because he doesn't have faith if he carries some element of truth. If we deny any kind of truth, then we're denying Christ himself.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So we can't be hypocrites and say we believe in the truth and then qualify where it comes from.
Yeah.
That's what you call bigotry and prejudice.
Yep.
And so we don't do that. There was a time in history when we did. But the church is a living organism who's constantly moving deeper into its self-understanding and mission. It doesn't mean we ever change our beliefs, but we move into a deeper understanding of our beliefs.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll give you another example. Someone I'm a very conservative priest, but some people who call themselves conservatives are only conserving the Middle Ages. They're forgetting that there was a beginning of the church, too.
Mm-hmm.
And at one time in the church, when we worshiped, we faced east. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, so if I'm a priest 20, 30 years ago, the years from now, rather, and we're doing space travel, and I'm going to say Mass on the space shuttle,
Mm-hmm.
which way is east? You see where I'm going?
Yeah, I do.
There is no east, because east is when you're looking at the globe and it's traveling on its axis.
Yeah.
And, but if you're out in space, which way is east? In fact, what time is it when you're out in space?
Yeah.
You don't have a sun regulating the day. So the church moves along as we learn more. It applies the principles to any knowledge that it receives.
Yeah, that makes sense.
People don't realize that the Vatican has its own, what do you call them? Telescopes, to study space.
Yeah.
Anything that's true must be integrated into the truth we already have. We don't pick and choose. That's one of the reasons why I find the Catholic faith being so sensible.
Okay.
We cannot deny any truth, no matter where it comes from. If it's true, it's true.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much for the interview and your permission.
I hope that's enough.
Yeah, it definitely is. Thank you.